City.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To speak on the bill.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, hearing some of that, I think my comments are about to change a little bit. I always find it interesting when we start debating national politics in here. But I suppose if there were ever time to do it, it's on a budget book that's how we spend a whole bunch of federal dollars that Joe Biden and the federal government have sent us to invest in our state. It's an odd thing to complain about. Now, I hear a lot of things that I hear a lot repeated on the other side of the aisle, really mostly in national news and whatnot, about inflation. Inflation is a problem right now. But suggesting that inflation is really a result of the stimulus dollars and other programs that have gone into place, or dollars like these coming into our state, it's not really true. There may be a small bit of it, yes. But what we're seeing more is market impacts that are changing the cost of goods. COVID, regardless of the decisions governments made, as was suggested, caused a lot of disruption, not just here in our country, but globally. And that supply chain, that global supply chain we hear about all the time, is the number one reason for increased prices here. We talk about increased costs of gas, and we've heard people in here complain that it's Joe Biden's fault for not drilling enough. Joe Biden has approved more permits in his time in office than Donald Trump did. We've got more drilling happening under Biden than happened before him. No. You don't think a war between Russia and Ukraine might have more to do with that? And of course, when gas prices go up as much as they are right now, that's going to impact the cost of all other goods. Yes, that happens. Yes, it's a problem we need to address, but you're pointing the finger the wrong direction. So I just got to say thank you, Joe Biden. Thank you, federal government. This money we have right now to invest in our state, the money that supported us as we went through a really difficult couple years, things like I said, the PPP loans that kept businesses afloat and paying their employees despite disruptions. And I think you all will remember, for the most part, we didn't have government-imposed disruptions in most of our state. And yet disruptions happened because we had a pandemic. The government didn't cause the pandemic, but those PPP loans, those child tax credits, they sure helped. And I'll remind you, the previous administration also made a large investment of dollars. A whole lot of money came in from that administration as well. Money that I agree was also needed. But I don't hear you complaining about that money, do I? I don't hear you blaming that money for inflation. No. Just like I never hear you blaming the Republican administration's spending or tax cuts for deficit problems. Okay. No, it's only when Democrats try and put money in things that help working families that I start to hear you complain. Now this bill, 20. I'm grateful for some of the work that happened on the floor here to put some of the dollars back in so we're not in as egregiously low a place as we were when this came out of committee. And look, the budget chair is right. We've had some real conversations about this. I honestly respect the difficult position he's in on this. I know he came in to this job with a single mission of cutting government and cutting spending, and yet here we are with the most revenue we've ever had in the state, and it would be irresponsible for us to decrease spending. It's irresponsible for us not to spend these dollars in our state in ways that grow our state, because guess what? Sending them back to the feds, that's not going to make an inkling of difference in the inflation or the debt. Nothing. It's just going to mean we don't get to use those dollars to invest in our people, in our infrastructure. Now, we've left this budget in a place where I'm more concerned about the GR left on the table, frankly, than the one-time dollars. And I agree there's a lot of concerns with how we spend this money and making sure that it's accountable and transparent. What I will suggest to you is that the governor's proposals might have done a pretty darn good job of making sure we had transparency and accountability and vetting of programs. We're sending this money over to the Senate. I am significantly less confident that will be true. But this money is going to be spent. Now, for all of those reasons, I'm going to have to be a no on this. I think this was a poor choice on our part to leave this much money on the table and leave this much power in the hands of a Senate that I know none of you trust right now. And in most contexts, neither do I. Although they fixed our work on the last budget bill we sent them, I hope they fix our work on this one too. I'd ask the body to help them do that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.